Chapter 40 of Adapted Night by Elie Wiesel. That afternoon at 4 o'clock, the Nazis came to tell us. Evacuation! The camp was going to be emptied, and we would be sent away. Where to? Probably to other camps. They were everywhere. When? Tomorrow night. The whole camp was anxious. People were running, calling to one another. In every block, the Jews prepared for the journey ahead. I had forgotten about my foot. A doctor came into the room and said, "Tomorrow the camp will start on a march. The sick can remain in the infirmary. They will not be evacuated." "All the sick people will be killed on the spot," said one, "and thrown into the crematorium." As for me, I was thinking not about death, but about not wanting to be separated from my father. We had already suffered so much, endured so much together. This was not the moment to separate. I ran outside to look for him. The snow was very high. Holding a shoe in my hand, for I could not put it on my right foot, I ran. I didn't feel pain or cold. "What are we going to do?" My father didn't answer. "What are we going to do?" He was confused. The choice was our own. We could decide our future for ourselves. To stay, both of us, in the infirmary, or to march with the others to an unknown place. I had made up my mind to stay with my father wherever he went. "Well, father, what do we do?" He was silent. "Let's leave on march with the others," I said. He didn't answer. He was looking at my foot. "You think you'll be able to walk?" "Yes, I think so." "Let's hope we won't regret it, Eliezer." Chapter 41. After the war, I learned the destiny of those who had remained at the infirmary. They were not killed. They were freed by the Russians 2 days after the evacuation. It was cold. We got into our beds. The last night in Buna, once more the last night at home, the last night in the ghetto, the last night in the cattle car, and now the last night in Buna. How much longer would our lives be lived from one last night to the next? I didn't sleep. Through the snowy windows we could see flashes of red. Gunshots broke the silence of night. How close was the Red Army? How soon could they save us? Between them and us, one night. Our last. Hope was still alive. Someone yelled, "Try to sleep. Gather your strength for the journey." It reminded me of my mother's last recommendation in the ghetto, but I couldn't fall asleep. My foot was so painful. Chapter 42. In the morning, the camp did not look the same. The Jewish prisoners had put on several layers of clothes, one over the other, to better protect ourselves from the cold. Poor clowns, more dead than alive. Poor animals, poor clowns. I tried to find a very large shoe. I couldn't find one, so I tore my blanket and wrapped it around my foot. Then I went off to walk through the camp in search of a little more bread and a few potatoes. Some people said we would be going to Czechoslovakia. Chapter 43. At 6 o'clock the bell rang. The death bell. The funeral. We would begin our march into the unknown. In a few moments we stood in line, block by block. Night had fallen. Everything was happening according to plan. The searchlights came on. Hundreds of Nazis appeared out of the darkness with police dogs. The snow continued to fall. The gates of the camp opened. It seemed as though even darker night was waiting for us on the other side. The first prisoners began to march. We waited. We had to wait for everyone before us. It was very cold. In my pocket I had 2 pieces of bread. How I would have liked to eat them, but I knew I must not. And not yet. "Forward, march!" It snowed on and on. Chapter 44. An icy wind was blowing violently, but we marched without stopping. The SS made us walk very quickly. "Faster, you stupid dogs!" We walked faster and faster. Moving fast made us a little warmer. It gave us the feeling of being alive. "Faster, you filthy dogs!" We were no longer marching, we were running. The SS were running too, guns in hand. We looked like we were running from them. The night was black. From time to time a gun shot into the darkness. They had orders to shoot anyone who could not keep walking fast enough. If one of us stopped for a second, a quick shot killed the dirty dog. I was putting one foot in front of the other, like a machine. I was dragging my skinny body that still felt heavy. Though I tried not to think about it, I couldn't help thinking that there were two of us, my body and I hated that body. I kept repeating to myself, "Don't think, don't stop, run." Near me, men were falling down into the dirty snow. Gunshots. A young boy from Poland was marching beside me. His name was Zalman. He had worked with me in Buna. People made fun of him because he was always praying. For him, praying was escape from reality, from feeling the pain. Suddenly he had terrible stomach pains. "My stomach aches," he whispered to me. He couldn't keep running. He had to stop a moment. I begged him, "Wait a little, Zalman. Soon we will all stop. We cannot run like this to the end of the world." But while running, he yelled to me, "I can't go on. My stomach is erupting." "Make an effort, Zalman. Try." "I can't go on," he moaned. He fell to the ground. That is the image I will remember of him. I don't believe that an SS shot him, but because nobody had noticed. He must have died, killed under the feet of the thousands of men who were running behind us. I soon forgot him. I began to think of myself again. My foot was hurting very badly. Just a few more minutes and it will be over. I'll fall. I could feel death everywhere. It stuck to me like glue. I felt I could touch it. The idea of dying began to interest me, to no longer exist, to no longer feel the horrible pain of my foot, to no longer feel tired or cold, nothing. My father was the only thing that stopped me. He was running next to me, out of breath, out of strength. I had no right to let myself die. What would he do without me? I was his only support. By now I moved like a sleepwalker. I sometimes closed my eyes, and it was like running while asleep. Sometimes someone kicked me from behind, and I would wake up. The man behind me was screaming, "Run faster! If you don't want to move, let us pass you." But all I had to do was close my eyes to see a whole world pass before me, to dream of another life. The road was endless, but we felt like masters of the world. We were stronger than cold and hunger, stronger than the guns and the desire to die. Nothing but numbers. We felt like the only men on earth. At last the morning star appeared in the gray sky. I saw a small light ahead. We were exhausted. We had lost all strength, all truth. We had run for 12 miles. We came to an empty abandoned village. No one was there, not a single sound. Houses with broken windows, a few people escaped and tried to hide in an empty building. One more hour of marching, and at last the order to stop. Like one man, we let ourselves fall into the snow. My father yelled at me, "Not here! Get up! A little more! There's a small building over there. Come!" I didn't want to get up, but I listened to my father. The building was a factory. The roof had fallen, and the windows were broken. Hundreds of prisoners stood together at the door. The snow was deep and cold. I let myself fall to the ground. Only now did I feel how exhausted I really was. The snow seemed to me like a very soft, very warm pillow. I fell asleep. I don't know how long I slept, a few minutes or 1 hour. When I woke up, a cold hand was touching my cheeks. I tried to open my eyes. It was my father. He had become so old since last night. His body was completely skinny and twisted. His eyes looked dead, his lips dry. Everything about him expressed total exhaustion. His voice sounded wet from tears and snow. "Don't let yourself be taken by sleep, Eliezer. It's dangerous to fall asleep in snow. One falls asleep forever. Come, my son, come, get up." Get up? How could I? How was I to leave this warm feeling? "Come, my son, come." I got up, holding on to me with one arm. He took me outside. It was very difficult. Under our feet there were men who were dying. They had been crushed by the feet of thousands of men running. Everyone ignored them. I saw myself in every dead body. Soon I wouldn't even be seeing them anymore. I would be one of them, a matter of hours, and I would be dead. "Come, father, let's go back to the building." "Don't worry, son. Go to sleep. I'll watch over you." "You first, father. Sleep." He refused. I stretched out and tried to sleep, but I couldn't. God knows that I wanted to sleep so badly, but I knew that to sleep meant to die. and something in me rebelled against that death. Death which was just settling in all around me, silently, would take a sleeping person, killing him bit by bit. My father too was softly sleeping. I couldn't see his eyes. His hat was covering his face. "Wake up," I whispered in his ear. He awoke, confused. He looked all around him, then he smiled. I will always remember that smile. What world did it come from? Heavy snow continued to fall over the bodies. There was shouting outside. Night had fallen, and the SS were ordering us to march once more. The dead remained under the snow. No one prayed over them. Sons left behind the bodies of their fathers without a tear. On the road it snowed and snowed. It snowed endlessly. We were marching more slowly. Even the guards seemed tired. My wounded foot no longer hurt, probably frozen. I felt that I had lost that foot. At every step somebody fell down and died. Nobody wanted to give up now, just before the end, so close to our destination. Our eyes looked into the distance to see if we could see another concentration camp. Our only wish was to get there quickly. By now it was night. It had stopped snowing. We marched a few more hours before we arrived. We saw the camp only when we stood right in front of its gates. The SS quickly put us into the barrack. There was pushing and moaning, and people stepped on cold bodies. There were no cries, only a few moans. My father and I were thrown to the ground. Someone was laying on top of me, making it so hard I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe through my mouth or my nose. Sweat was running down my forehead and my back. This was it, the end of the road, a silent death, no air, no way to scream, no way to call for help. My whole desire to live became concentrated in my nails. I scratched, I fought for a breath of air, I tore at flesh. I could not free myself of that body in my chest. Who knows? Was I struggling with a dead man? I shall never know. All I can say is that I finally succeeded in getting some air and finding my way out.